G'day fellas, and welcome to a high-octane matchup. Over on the east side of the map, we've got the Rus, which are piloted currently by, get this, Lucifron 7. At least, that's who I think it is. It might actually be Vortex, it could be his brother. Now, these guys are so evenly matched. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if it was either one of them, but I can confirm this guy is absolutely next level, winning every single game on the ladder, except a couple. And we may have just picked one where he loses. So you'll have to wait and see to the end whether it's going to be the case. But let's talk a little bit about why this matchup is so incredible. So over on the west side of the map, in the color red, hold on, there we go. We've got Voldemar 1902, who's playing as the French. You will know him as the Kid. He is a youngster out of Germany. Disappointing that he's not actually an Outback Octagon. So I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I will say, so when we're inviting people to Outback Octagon, which by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, Outback Octagon will be in about an hour from when this is uploaded. So go in, check the time that it was uploaded, and if you want to come see Outback Octagon, I'll leave a link in the pinned comment where you can catch it. But yeah, unfortunately the Kid didn't get an invite to Outback Octagon because there's a couple of factors that we look at. So one of the first things that we look at is called ATR rating, which is a rating that is determined by how successful a person is competitively in tournaments. And the next thing that we did was community standing. And what that talks about is as a contributor to the community, how well do you take part in that? And Voldemar is obviously a prolific streamer, but just before the Outback Octagon, he hadn't actually streamed for quite a long time. And so I wasn't sure whether he was still playing. I wasn't sure what was going on. So a couple people bumped up the list in front of him, and he was the next on my list. I'm not even kidding you, the next on my list to get a place. But unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be. So Voldemar, a distinct or a noticeable absence from Outback Octagon. Now, of course, both of these two players do have, I'm pretty sure, now that I think about it, I think Zanmato is Vortex, because I know Lucifron plays under Lucifron 7, and he plays under Lucifron with a second N on his stream. So I'm pretty sure Zanmato is Vortex. So I'm going to be calling him Vortex for the rest of the game. I'll be leaving a link down to Vortex's stream. Both Vortex and Lucifron have been active on Twitch a lot lately. So anyway, let's talk about this matchup. This matchup is one of the best that you will see if you like lots of action, and largely because of the prevalence of knights in this matchup. Now, I'm curious exactly how it's going to be played out here by Vortex, by Voldemar, just because players can look to go for a spear transition quite early on in this matchup, and that can really hurt. And you can see, actually, we have Voldemar trying to snipe away one of the wolves here. Just for the moment, you can see that Vortex brings it, leashes it over. It's got 2 hits, so he's just going to make sure that he takes it out at the exact same time, but manages to pick up the bounty. So I'm not sure what the bounty's sitting at for him, but he does have that bounty buff, Hunter's Boon. Means that he's got at least the tier 1 bounty coming through. So doing pretty well at this point in the game. But the age up's now coming through. School of Cavalry, going to be the way that Voldemar's looking to play this. Obviously for the Rus, there's a couple of options that you can look to go into, whether you look to go into the Golden Gate. Obviously very popular, and look at that. We actually see, is that going to be, that's a dead scout. That is a dead scout. So Voldemar losing a scout early on definitely hurts quite a bit there. Obviously a bit of idle time as well for Vortex, but you still kind of like this, and it's going to be the Kremlin that gets thrown down on the forward gold. Beautiful little spot here. He could be looking for a second town center when I see a Kremlin that's positioned in this way up on this front gold. And this is actually his safe gold. It's kind of wild seeing how far away this gold is from everything else, but it's doing pretty decently when it comes to his economy. Already picked up the early wheelbarrow as well through the hunting cabin. So 20 passive gold coming in from that. Well, right on board with Voldemar, though. He's about halfway through. We do see the mill's going to be coming down. Wheelbarrow going to be on the way for him. This is quite a common build order that we do see. And there's the first of the wheelbarrows coming through for him. So both players now going to be able to pick that up. And now moving across the map, looking to pick up any information that he can, but manages to get cut off. You can see Vortex doing a wonderful job of just preventing or trying to prevent all that scouting from coming through. And I'm curious exactly how the Rus look to play this, because in the good old days, this matchup was largely about knights. It was about making sure you had spears out if you were looking to play defensive. And then it was about getting Castle Age. Castle Age is really, really important in this matchup, because once you hit Castle Age, you're looking at veterancy upgrades. And when you've got the same units as your enemy, having veterancy upgrades gives you that extra little bit, 20% health, an extra 20% damage. It's a lot. It's a lot that you're talking about, and it can make all the difference. So I would suspect that we're probably going to see some interesting timings looking to be exploited here. But the age up's now coming through. There's going to be Vortex, who begins throwing down the Kremlin, and we can see straight away a stable's going to be coming down here for him. Immediately onto gold. Voldemar also going to be aging up as well. The knight comes out, and it just straight away goes into archery range. Very, very interesting choice going into archery ranges in this matchup. Normally, you'd expect to see, as I said, either a second stable coming through or even just no stable and then going into a second town center. But Voldemar going to be looking to play at one base for the moment. 5 villagers out on gold for now. We do see the stone is still untouched, untapped for the moment. Riding on board with Vortex, though. He's got position out on the map. Scouts in the stealth forests. Really well positioned. And the knight going to start moving out. Obviously going well and truly past those stealth forests. Actually, there's the stealth forest I'm looking at. But obviously, will be tracked across the map. And look at this perfect tracking coming through right now from Vortex. He knows exactly where this knight is. Almost like a pathway or an alleyway through the center of the map. Looking to try and take out this scout. He might even try and sacrifice the scout. Not going to be able to bring it. Second scout going to be coming in. Needs to be careful not to block. And manages to delay this knight even further. Over on the defensive side, we do see a knight going to be coming out now for Vortex as well. Now the question is, where does he look to send this? And we can see he's got a rally point up towards that north side. Archer coming out as well. And Voldemar looking to put the pedal to the metal early on in this game. You've got to be very careful going into archers. If someone spots their enemy just going 100% archers, as we do see what appears to be a dead scout down on the south side, if someone goes into archer knight, well, it's very easy. You just start making only knights. And you have a pretty solid response. And now we can actually see Vortex is heading into the second stable. And that's the part for me that really is a bit of a head scratcher here. Voldemar just going into those archers. Because the idea is that you want to try and put on as much pressure as you can with the knight. So let's look to see exactly how he does it. Of course, he can always look to switch into his own spears as well. That could be another thing to look for. We do see the knight causing a bit of havoc out here, Voldemar. But remember that this entire time, he's being pulled back. Pulled away from his enemy's base, and now that knight over from Vortex going to be finding its way towards the gold. Will come through with the charge. Let's see if he's able to get the second shot off. Doesn't look like it. You can see he's getting blocked out the wazoo. 2 health on that villager. It won't be coming back out for a second time, but over on the other side of the map, Voldemar manages to come through. He's able to find that royal knight, and an archer immediately just goes down, eviscerated by the Kremlin. Lovely little defensive position that Vortex has picked up so far. 3 tickets as well. He can always look to just pop those tickets in the event that he's in a bit of an emergency. But now that knight going to be looking to come through for round 2. Blocking the entrance with the scout. Scout does go down. He sacrifices it. But the royal knight just going to be taking out a lot of damage and eventually does go down. So we'll ride on board over on the other side of the map. As we do see, it's going to be knight on lancer action here. Rather, it's just knight on knight action. Knight on royal knight action. Big charges coming through. And Voldemar moving into the blacksmith early on. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a barracks getting thrown down from him here. Will definitely help out with his transition. Archers will prevent any kind of spears. At least we'll try to prevent any kind of spears, but have a look at that. We've got 6 militia now out on the field as well. Militia going to be looking to try and cause some havoc up towards this north side. Remember, these guys are fast, and they do have the ability to charge, which means if those archers are out of position, he's going to be throwing away those units. And now the militia start moving out. Knights looking to make connections. Going to hit those archers. Tries to block on the front side, but the militia going to be looping around as well. Plenty of melee units here, and this is where it gets so difficult to attack into this. What's interesting to me is that Vortex hasn't gone for that second town center just yet, but as I say that, take a look at the villagers he's got on the stone. It's definitely going to be a second TC behind this. And now slowly and steadily, those militia are going to start to get value here. This is exactly what Vortex wants. Getting real value here, going to be able to take out all those archers. The consequence of getting caught off guard like that and going into archers, especially when you're on the aggressive like this, is that you do get caught out against enemy knights. And as a result, Voldemar now just going to be heading back to the pavilion. He's got to be careful, though. You don't want to really take trades against these militia. They've got 25 seconds left. So it's only a matter of time until they do eventually run out of life and die. But we're right on board now with Vortex, as that second town center is going to be coming down. Where does he look to go? He's got a couple of good options here for himself. Looks like it's just going to be down here. Oh my god, look at that. That's a juicy little expansion, isn't it? 7 deer, a boar. Don't mind if I do. Very nice little spot. Over on the other side of the map, though, Voldemar. No sign of an expansion. Instead, just going to be playing one base. Very, very committed at this stage to one base. But it feels like the tempo's definitely been off for him. He's looked to get onto the map early with units. Hasn't found a lot of success just yet. And I can't help but feel that these archers are really filling a gap that nobody asked to be filled at this point. Sure, there's militia, but the idea is that you don't fight against the militia. You run from the militia. And now, more militia are going to be coming out. 50 seconds on these bad boys. Knight numbers are still looking pretty good, but he's going to fall back from this position. Going to be moving into chivalry. That's definitely an indication that he's planning on staying in the feudal age for a little bit longer. Normally, you won't be seeing that chivalry come through unless the intent is to stay feudal. I think the part that's really going to hurt Voldemar here is not going into a second town center. I would have loved to have seen a second town center out of him early on instead of going into these archer ranges. But still, now getting chased away by the militia. And I'm curious at this point. There's a part of me that thinks that maybe it's in the best interest of Vortex to look to try and age up. He's just got to be very careful though, because if there's one way that he dies, it's by being too greedy. So he's got to be really careful on making the decision to age up and when to age up. I'm curious what kind of composition he looks for, because it definitely feels like at this point, as the second town center has come down, that Voldemar could look to, you know, drop a barracks or two and push with a whole bunch of spears and a whole bunch of knights and look to start taking down town centers. We're right on board with the kid. Check in with him as the first of the barracks comes down. Exactly as we suspected. This is definitely the right cause for him. Needs to be moving into this. Chivalry coming through. He's going to be spotting out that town center. Remember that town center down here. I'm not sure if he knows about it, but he definitely will now. Spots the TC. Ville's going to be heading inside. Wants to try and prevent that wooden fortress from coming up. Fighting underneath the town center, though. He's going to be careful. He really has to make a decision. Do I fight here? Do I lose a lot of my knights? And oh my lord, there's plenty of knights now coming through from Vortex on the other side. He's just going full knights at this point. So Spear's definitely going to be handy here, but it really feels like for Voldemar's sake, he needs to throw down a second barracks and really start hitting those spears out of the park. Getting chased away, though. It's going to be a long time before these knights are back up to max health. We can see it's going to be a horseman's transition as well. Spear's finally getting made here for him. And the number's starting to build, though, for Voldemar. He's still got that double military population. But one thing to note is that the army value is largely in favor of his enemy. Significantly more knights on the field. Slowly chasing away the enemy. Plenty of villages exposed on this map. 7 villages out here. Only 5 space in the outpost. Knight does get chased back. He's got to be careful here. I mean, the archer numbers are solid. Knights come through. Manages to hit the charge on the backside. He's forcing these bad boys out. But remember, this entire time, Vortex is scaling. He's on that second town center now. And it's going to take him some time to catch up to the French player. Remember that the French has got that advantage when it comes to training villagers. We'll have to see whether Voldemar looks to put pressure on that gold. But we can also see that the militia now starting to come out. Wants to avoid fighting with them directly unless he can clear them out completely. And it looks like he's got some solid numbers here. He's got to be careful not to group them all up together. You can see how when he groups them all up together, that one of them moves slower than the other, or the archers slow down drastically. Knights come in through. It's a big charge. Still at the same time on the front line, the militia doing a pretty decent job. They get good value. Takes a lot of shots. But now Voldemar is going to start putting the pedal to the metal. And I'm not sure exactly what happened behind the scenes, whether Vortex was thinking, all right, now I might look for a castle age, and he's only just put three knights into the queue right now. But you can see the Rax is coming down, and it's going to be a double Rax, and definitely the right call is to go double Rax. Look at this. Vortex actually realizes, I can't actually go castle. I have to stay feudal. I have to defend. It's way too many units for me to deal with right now. I've got to do my best to try and keep it alive. Now Voldemar really looking to commit. Economic upgrades coming through. Looking to pick up double broadaxe. Looking to pick up his survival techniques as well. I like the fact he's got the double mill down. There's the survival techniques. Still yet to pick up that horticulture. Is available for him. But the units starting to build. Just a single Rax though. A single Rax for him. And now into the stone outcropping. We'll be looking to add that second town center. A little bit slow on that second town center though. I guess one thing to note is we're still pretty even Stevens when it comes to villager count. At this point in the game, 49 up against 50. Only one worker kill. It's Voldemar. He's taken one out this game. Villagers immediately jump inside all the garrison points. And he's able to force back those units. Probably going to need at least a ram to get through this. Probably a second ram. Might have to do. But look at the knight numbers. The knight numbers starting to build right now for Vortex. You've got to be so careful in a situation like this. Spear's starting to move out. And looking just to focus through the wooden fortress. Arrow slits is coming in. One of the things I often say when I'm coaching is you got to be so careful when you're fighting against these wooden fortresses. if your enemy looks to fight you right as the fortress is about to go down, it can be really tough. Because you're in a position where you have to make a decision. Do I fight or do I go for the wooden fortress? Arrow Slits now comes through. A lot of health still remaining on this. And he looks to turn the attention towards the wooden fortress. The knight's now going to come back through. He's trying to make that connection. Not a lot of spears here. Only 4 spears on the field at the moment for the kid. Militia going to get cold as well. And still that outpost, well, that wooden fortress stands. Reinforcements over on the backside getting scouted out by the scout. Knights looking strong. Militia on the south side. Villagers in the town center and the outpost still firing off. He's getting so much value from these. Archers on the back. And look at the knight numbers. The knight numbers are completely dwindled. Completely dwindled at this point. Voldemar going to have to head packing at this point. He's down on military value. Up on military population, but it's really that value that becomes so important at this point in the game. And take a look at the macro now for Voldemar. Really doing a great job of spending all those resources. Compare that over to his enemy, who was sitting on an elite amount of resources. Vortex trying to take out this archer mass. Get rid of it. Unsuccessful attack over on this east side. So, for anybody wondering, you can check out some coaching over on Patreon if you're looking to improve, if you want to see some replay reviews or get private coaching yourself. But one of the things I often talk about is when you're pushing a wooden fortress in particular, you need rams. You 100% need rams. A lot of people will forget that nerfs happened to outposts. Their health points got nerfed. They went from 1,000 down to 750. And wooden fortresses, they were always double the outpost, which was 1,000, so double to 2,000. The problem is, when outposts got nerfed, the wooden fortress didn't. So a lot of people will underestimate the strength of these buildings. You can see right here, still sits on 533 health. Had he had a battering ram, it would have been a different story. We'll take a look and see. Has he picked up siege engineering? No siege engineering through just yet. He's confident in his ability to take down these forces. And his numbers are starting to build once again. But it's the archer numbers that are building here. And I can't help but feel archer numbers in this matchup, probably not what you want to be looking for. You could really be looking to max out on knights, on spears. Especially once you're on that 2 town center, it's a really different story. But now, Knight's going to be looking to move in. There's plenty of militia. Oh my god, it's an absolute surround coming in from the top side. Vortex ripping him apart right now. He's trying his best to hold on, to try and keep it alive. Archer's just teeing off towards the bottom. He's focusing down all the enemy archers, and beautiful hold right now from Vortex. Keep in mind that in addition to having the number advantage, he's also got the reinforcement advantage. All these reinforcements are going to be coming in fresh out of the blocks. It's going to give him a huge advantage when it comes to defending. Now Voldemar going to have to head back to the drawing board once again. And I think this is the window right now. If Vortex wants to go castle, this is it. He's repelled the enemy. He's taken out a lot of the forces. Visibly, you can see that there's not a lot here for Voldemar. Now, granted, he's only up 6 vills at this point. But Castle Age is still definitely the right call here. I'm curious if he moves vills. That's a lot of vills on gold. That is not 210 gold a minute's worth of vills on gold. That's 13. 13 times 4. You're looking at 600 plus villagers on gold. Or 600 plus gold a minute for these villagers. Let's see exactly how much he gets through, but you can see. Looking to just make a couple knights as well. Wants to insulate himself against any potential attacks. Walls coming up as well for Voldemar on that top side. Definitely the right play here. Second TC did come up. I think the best thing that Voldemar can do at this point is look to try and scale into the Castle Age. Go for the Royal Institute. Look to pick up Royal Bloodlines. And try and take down the enemy with a Royal Bloodline attack. I think that's the best thing he can do. If he looks to try and fight this in feudal, it's going to end terribly for him. Because you've got to remember that the Rus have got so many ways that they can add value in the Castle Age. Abbey of the Trinity. You get a single warrior monk out in the middle of a fight. It's going to buff up attack speed. It's going to buff up the armor of all of your units. You've got to be so careful against it. He's going to go for the high trade house, though, instead. 8 villagers building the high trade house. It's got a pretty big radius on it here. 13 villagers now. He's added 5 to it. I've got no idea where they're coming from, though. Scout does go down. And now Voldemar really starting to build up the numbers. Population starting to build here for him. He's up 7 vills at the moment. Vortex is. And what's Voldemar's plan? Is he going to go castle as well? It looks like he's just adding in more units here at this point. A lot of vills on wood as well, which makes me think he might be looking for a farm transition. He's going into a 3rd TC. 3rd TC here. Very bold move by Voldemar. Definitely very dangerous. I feel like on the defensive here for Voldemar, the best thing he can do, just mass up those knights, look for the veterancy upgrade. That's the best thing he can do, because remember, the enemy calling militia and attacking with militia, it's a very difficult thing to want to do, just simply because by the time your militia get there, they're going to be really low on life. 126 gold a minute coming through for the High Trade House. Question is, what does Voldemar look to do? How does he react? He's got to move a lot of vills to gold right now. Needs to move vills to gold. He has to get this age up. The gold's been completely... Where is his gold? Where is his gold? Voldemar's 0 gold right now. 0 villagers on gold. He's sitting on 75 villagers, none on gold. His enemy just hit the castle age. Did he miss the castle age? Did he miss the age up? Is he not aware of what's happening right now? This is not good. This is not good. The veterancy going to be coming through any second now for these knights. There it is. Knights have got their upgrades. And look at that. Look at the difference between these. 230 and 24 versus 190 and 19. 5 extra damage, 40 extra health. You can't be fighting up against this. It's just not possible. It's just not possible. It's way too hard. Voldemar going to be trying his best, though. Knights come through. I think he realizes it's do or die right now. The timing attack from Vortex is way too strong. Spear's going to be moving forward. Archer's teeing off towards them. It's a 1-1-1 fight. GUA would be proud in this moment. But the third TC might have been the wrong choice. He needed to go Castle Age. And he's looking to try and keep himself alive a little bit longer. Falls back towards the town center. Outpost going to be coming up as well. Remember that veterancy coming through on all of these units. The spears have got their upgrades as well. Extra health for those units. And Voldemar really struggling right now. More reinforcements streaming across the map. Vortex looking to overpower his enemy right now. And Voldemar, the kid, looks like he'll be coming up empty-handed this game. A beautiful display coming out right now from Vortex. And villagers just heading back to the town center, but there's no chance. There's no chance. He needed to get up to the castle age. Needed to complete walls. And just didn't have the chance to do it, unfortunately for him. Just not an appropriate read there. I think he looked to try and fight it out in the feudal age for a little bit longer. And as a result, got punished by that wonderful castle timing. I'm suspecting he might have missed the castle age. For some reason, has he discovered the gold? He knows where the gold is. Why is he not taking the gold? What's he doing with all of his... Is it the farm Oh my god, it's the farm transition. All of the vills are on wood so that he can build farms. Oh my god, the worst timing. Oh god, how terrible is that timing? All of the vills were on wood so that he could build farms for the... I can't believe that. Oh my god. That's probably one of the worst timings I've ever seen. Because none of the vills were on gold. And now he's got 11 vills on gold and he's like, alright, we're going to go castle now, baby. Because he never had the food to go castle in the first place. He could have had, 10 vills, 15 vills on gold. But the farm transition just all came at the exact same time. All the food ran out. The hunts, the berries, and obviously the boar down to the south was never his to begin with. And now he's just going to get cleaned up. And good game gets called. Voldemar tapping out. Vortex victorious. Fellas, if you've enjoyed this casted game, make sure you check out Outback Octagon. It's happening probably right now if you're watching this video within the first couple of hours of it going up live. Of course, I'll leave links in the description where you can catch both of these gamers. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.